Okay, seniors, the plan for Wednesday is still focused on RL4, analyzing figurative language and applying it to context. You should be able to understand figurative language in basic poetry. We're going to be doing that by analyzing with 3 different analysis papers, and then we're going to reflect on that process with the poetry. Please do not forget, Unit 6 worksheet is due next Monday, and your grammar is due next Monday. As always, if you finish early with this particular lesson, I do want you to go ahead and work on vocab or grammar. The substitute does have answer sheets for those particular pages in vocab and grammar, so please feel free to ask them a couple of questions that you have, okay? All right, so I'm going to use this reference to a poem called After from Stephen Dunn. It's on page 105 in your Literature Crafted Voice Poetry book. So get that out. We have a worksheet also to go along with that. Looks like this. This is Poetry Analysis Day 1 assignment. So we're going to be analyzing poetry this time. So with the poetry analysis, we're going to be looking at different types of analysis worksheets. So this one is relatively long, but it's not hard to answer. Another poetry analysis worksheet. And then one more very short. Okay. So those 3, we're picking 3 different poems in our book of your choice. You can practice with this one if you'd like, but I'm going to give examples of this, okay? You need to have 3 different poems, okay? All right, so on the Day 1 assignment sheet, it says, we have spent a lot of time talking about figurative language and literary elements. Now it is time to apply what we've learned looking at poetry. You are going to analyze 3 poems of your choice with the Literary Craft and Voice Poetry book. You will choose 3 different poems and use the different analysis worksheets to answer the analysis questions. Then on this part, you're going to reflect which one you thought was more thorough, and then you're going to tell me about one thing you learned in the lesson or in the poem. And I want you to use 3 sentences using figurative language details. Okay, so we're going to start with this particular poem. It's called After by Steve Dunn. And it goes like this. Jack and Jill at home together after their fall. The bucket spilled, her knees badly scraped. And Jack with not even an aspirin for what's broken. We could see the arduous evenings ahead of them. And the need now to pay a boy to fetch the water. Our mistake was trying to do something together, Jill sighs. Jack says, if you'd have let go for once, you wouldn't have come tumbling after. He's in a wheelchair, but she's still an item, for the rest of their existence confined to a little rhyming story. We tell it to our children, who laugh, already accustomed to disaster. We'd like to teach them the secrets of knowing how to go too far. But Jack is banging with a soup spoon. Jill is pulling out her hair. Out of decency, we turn away, as if it were possible to escape the drift of our lives, the fundamental business of making do with what's been given us. The name of the poem is called After. And again, Stephen Dunn was the author of that poem. All right, so having talked about the poem, we understand and look at it, and we see that, of course, it's kind of an after story of the Jack and Jill nursery rhyme and how things went terribly wrong, right? So if we go into our poetry analysis, we have the big questions, and let's try to fit this in to see if this poem works for this particular analysis worksheet. Title of the poem, it was written by, the poem is written in the blank personal point of view. Who is the speaker? What is the basic situation? What is the poem setting? I'm going further down here, just kind of skipping down. What kind of imagery do they have in the poem? Give some examples. What other sound devices did they use? Sorry. For instance, alliteration, assonance, onomatopoeia. So again, we're going into our figurative language here. They're also asking for us to look at metaphor, simile, personification, hyperbole, metonymy, apostrophe. And then other questions here too. The mood of the poem, connotative meaning, explain that, the author's tone, what did they have, the attitude toward the subject, explain the significance of the poem's title, and write a paragraph in which you briefly summarize the poem. Okay, so it's fairly simple to answer any of those questions for that particular poem. Let's take a look at the next one. Again, title. You read it the first time through, read the poem silently to gain a first impression, and then you're going to answer the questions. Then they have a rereading, the meaning, the consolidation, theme, and they're just asking for you to write responses to what you did see in the poem. So there's many similarities to the first one, and then your interpretation on the bottom. And then the last one with the poetry analysis worksheet. What is the dramatic situation of the poem? What is taking place literally? So you're going to describe the two. Who is the speaker of the poem? To whom is he speaking or she speaking? And who is the audience of the poem? And we definitely want to relate it to what do we know about this poem, right? What is the possible theme? Going further down, what does the speaker feel compelled to speak out? What kind of patterns do you see? Are there visual patterns? And visual patterns would be how is it shaped? Is it shaped unusual? Is there rhyme to this one? Right? And then what is the tone or mood and the images? So these different worksheets have similar questions, but some things are left out in others, some are not as in detail, but it should be fairly easy to answer any of those with this particular poem. So you could do that for this one. And then you're going to choose any other one that you're interested in. In the front of the book, you will see all of the different poems. So you can kind of breeze through these to see which one you would like to try to tackle. But you are choosing 3 of your choice, okay? That's pretty much it for today's assignment. Have a great day.